online.
Okay, call the order, meeting to order at about 7:02 p.m. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Item number 3 is public comment. Which will be public comment this evening. Yes, sir.
Don Steinberg, 423 Providence Pike. At the last meeting on public comment, at the end of the meeting, I inquired about the audit of our town. My understanding, I was in the town hall today, that we don't have the audit as of yet.
I signed a 2-week extension on the audit late last week, Don. We called the state of Connecticut to check, and they recommended that we go 2 more weeks, and that will be the end of that. We'll take whatever other recourse that we can take to get that audit completed.
Could I ask the reason for the extension?
Yeah, the company went through our audit company went through a merger with another company, and I wish I could had a better answer for you, other than the fact that throughout that acquisition, Putnam kind of shuffled to the bottom of the pile. Can't tell you more than that. Doug, I don't know if you have anything additional to offer with that.
All I know is it's not the town's fault.
It's not the town's fault.
It's completely on the audit company.
No, I'm not looking to put any blame anymore.
No.
But what I'm questioning is the fact that this auditing firm, right, now, the acquisition was just by another auditing firm?
Yes.
Okay, now, it's my understanding from Selectman Sinay that there was question brought up about them being no longer employed by the town of Willimantic, not Willimantic, but Wyndham.
Yeah, there's another town I think that they had an issue with.
Okay, and I think at the time you said that you had.
We have full intentions of going out to other audit companies.
Okay, so the one that's acquired this particular firm, auditing firm, is not going to be.
No. What I did do is I talked to Paula Lajeunesse probably a week or so ago. I asked Paula what our recourse was, and unfortunately we don't have much recourse other than sign an extension with them. However, we can call the state of Connecticut, and we can start to pursue other avenues against them, formal complaints. So, you know, we certainly would have intention to do that. Paula also told me that I don't have the information in front of me, Don, but she gave me a resource to check what auditing firms are available here in the state of Connecticut. She recommended that we do a formal letter to these companies to find out which companies are actually interested, or do we have companies that are interested in conducting an audit for us. And sifting through them at that point, we can go for an RFP for a audit firm. But she said last time that we did that, we had very poor response. There was only a couple of companies that actually responded. So can't tell you much more than that. I can tell you that, you know, we are truly very unhappy with what's occurred, and we can take care of it after this audit is complete by going out to find another audit firm that can conduct our audit in a timely manner, and you know, it's my full intention.
Well, then again, my question would be, how does this not having the information from that audit affect anything that we do here financially in the town? I mean, we're talking, I went to the meeting down there, we're talking about a new high school, moving the library, doing something in the armory, the tech park, the YMCA. How can we do all that with not knowing what we did last year?
Like I said, hopefully, that was late last week that I signed that 2-week extension, that we'll have that information very shortly. And how does it affect us? I think you're right. It affects every decision we make right now. We've always tried to be very cautious when we come up with budgets. I think, you know, as we do things here in Putnam, we're cautious to make sure that we're doing the right thing. When we have a great deal of things on the table right now. You are right. People are going to expect answers. They're going to want to know where we are with things, what to anticipate for the future. And without having that completed audit, we can't answer all those questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can to try and wrap that up, and we'll do the best we can to make sure that we have a new audit firm for our next audit.
Thank you.
We're all greatly disappointed.
Speak quickly on that subject. Will it affect our bonding that we're going for now without a up-to-date audit? We're going to use the previous year's audit, but we should have had the audit in
We should have had the audit.
October.
It shouldn't affect it, but it's always better to have your audit in hand when we go out to the bond markets.
And isn't there a general statute that also affects the fact that if we didn't give them an extension, they could be liable?
They could do liable. I believe so.
Yeah. I don't see what.
Do you know, Doug, I know I talked a little bit, I don't have my notes with me, but what other recourse we have with the state of Connecticut at this point to put in a formal complaint?
The only, well, after the 2 week is up, if they're not complete, then we do have recourse.
Yeah.
So,
What is that?
so we've already requested an extension.
Yeah.
They have to justify significantly the reason why they haven't been able to complete it.
They've told us that it has nothing to do with the information that we've given them or worked with them with. I mean, we've given them
Well, I think the thing is,
everything that they
if we had an
possibly
opportunity to
do
go
that.
by statute and get these people fined, maybe they would lighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we're waiting for an audit, we gave them the extensions, maybe we shouldn't have. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
I don't know the full circumstances.
We're not
Yeah.
the only town I don't think by any means either. There are other towns that I think are having the same
The same
issues.
company?
Same
Yeah,
company.
Same company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's what OPM told me.
We need to take care of business with them, and you know, in the short term, hopefully we have everything wrapped up in another 8 or 10 days, and then we can take care of business to make sure that they're not the auditing firm for next year. We'll make sure that happens. Other public comment? Yes, sir.
Hi, Roy Simmons, 175 Heritage Road. What are the financial implications of their, we're going on 6 months of tardiness?
You mean penalties to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure. I'm sure that's something we could check into with the state of Connecticut. Looks like you heard.
Who pays for this audit?
Taxpayers pay for the audit.
What taxpayer?
Taxpayers of the town.
Okay? So we know how much we're paying for this audit and they're 6 months late. And we don't know what
No,
the
they're
financial.
not 6 months late.
You said it was due in October, was it not?
No, it's due by the end of the year.
Okay, so it's 2 months late, going on
2.5
3.
months.
Yeah,
That's a quarter. They're late a quarter of a year. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you, you know, that's probably the next step that we take, Roy, in the process is to find out what penalties are involved and push the right buttons to make sure that we get, you know, some further answers. And we're disheartened by not having the information back. But thank you. That's a good question. Further public comment this evening? Thank you all. Item 4 is approval of minutes. In your packet, you have the minutes from our meeting that was held on February 19th, 2013. What would be your pleasure?
Motion to approve is presented.
I have a second on the motion. Second. Have a motion and a second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Abstain.
Yep, thank you. Item number 5, additions of communications. Letter dated February 12, 2013 from Wheelabrator regarding response to the November 8, 2012 report. You also have a letter dated February 12, 2013 from Wheelabrator regarding the follow-up report on the January 8, 2013 pH discharge event. Those reports are in their entirety in the mayor's office, should anybody like to take a look at them. Reports of standing committees. Almer, item A is General Government Committee.
Ratification, we haven't gotten back with the attorney on them, but we're still in the process of that. That's been going on. Light ordinance, I'm hoping everybody had a chance to read it, and we can go through any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have had in it.
And we're still working with the MS4 draft.
Yep.
Yeah. That's also, is that with Bill too?
Yep.
So been cleared by the
Yeah,
bill?
everything's been cleared. And I think the next step with that would be, of course, to set the town meeting.
It's just gonna be the enforcement that's gonna be a problem.
It's actually, we dealt with the enforcement, the chief of police is gonna work with everybody. And
The
he'll
whole,
be-
to be the hearing officer?
No, the hearing, no.
Can't
He'll
be
do
the
any
hearing.
citations if we get to that point.
Okay.
Hearing officer, I believe is, probably gonna be sitting on the end of the table.
Scott? Scott?
Dressed in orange.
And it'd be,
Good try, good try.
the hearing officer should almost be a building official, because he would know the
No,
most.
he's a citation
He's a
officer.
citation
Oh,
officer.
that's right, okay.
So,
Yeah.
It's like many of the other ordinances we have in place, they're hard, they can be difficult
Sort
to
of
enforce.
impartial person.
yeah.
Okay, that works fine, but what happens if someone makes one against the town?
Huh?
What if somebody makes a complaint against the town? Who hears it then?
Impartial person.
It's not impartial.
No, well, hopefully we'll get it corrected before it gets to be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, that could arise.
Yeah.
Good point. Item number 7 is reports of special committees. Item 8.
Did we have to
Set a date.
Yeah, do we have to do a
Oh,
date for
sorry.
town meeting?
Yeah.
On that one?
The blight ordinance, are we going to want to go to the school?
I would say, you probably
Yeah,
want a larger
just
space
in
than we have
case.
here. Yeah.
I can, if it's your will, I can check and see what they have for
That'd be great.
availability and email out.
Mhm.
It's getting close to plans
Yeah.
and other stuff.
Have you selected a date, or do we have a date in mind at this point?
April 5th. Well, when's the first meeting in April?
April 1st.
April 1st.
April
April
Fool's
Fool's
Day.
Day.
That might not be the best.
Have you combined it with another town meeting?
Well, I was thinking maybe with the town meeting on the, but I don't know, with the school.
Yeah,
I think I leave that one to itself.
Yeah.
Did you want-
Yeah, I think not.
Yeah, I think-
The town meeting for the school is just discussion, there's no
Yeah, I'm
vote or
sure it makes
anything.
anything up in that.
Yeah, but you wanted to set it. Have you picked a date for the school?
We're gonna be working backwards in terms of from,
Okay.
sometime in the last part of April. So. We have to go to, we have to do the whole 9 yards in terms of the planning commission, the board of finance, of course, and
Oh.
get all those approvals in place too, so.
So are we best off waiting until next meeting before we pick a date?
Yeah.
For the ordinance?
So we'll table that till next year.
And then
This
we'll.
long without it. Been this long without it, wasn't
Yeah.
no meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think
Brooklyn's
you
going ahead
do
and
it
adopting
justice
one,
at
I
that
think.
point.
Did you see that? Brooklyn's going ahead and adopting one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it would be your recommendation that we wait until the next meeting before we set a date for town
We
meeting?
will do that.
All right, thank you, Alma. Reports of special committees, item 7A is Wheelabrator Contract Review Committee update.
Scott's the chairman.
Next Monday, the 11th, 6 p.m. is what we hope is our final meeting. We'll find out.
Any numbers or anything you can give us?
Yeah, we're waiting for them to,
Yeah, I bet there is, but.
we're waiting for them to approve our counter, and we'll see if they do or not. I'm guessing they'll come back with a counter, maybe, I don't know.
Thank you, Scott, Doug. Item 8 is Economic Community Development Report. It's not a reporting meeting. Item 9 is Building Officials CEO Report. It also is not a reporting meeting this evening. Item 10, however, is the Town Administrator's Report.
For your information, I hope you have a copy. I know we were late in getting out the full packet. The cost board, the Council of Small Towns, I'm on the board, and there was a lot of discussion at our last meeting concerning the strategy that cost would take to relative to the governor's budget proposals affecting towns, and of course the elimination of the car tax revenue was a big item of discussion. And I know today that there was a press conference that cost held in opposition to the car tax, elimination of the car tax revenue, and a lot of the our fellow town managers and first selectmen testified in opposition to it. So we'll continue to follow that item, and we've been in touch with both our Danny Rivero and Senator Williams in respect to what the board's action was last meeting in opposition to eliminating the car tax. On the Regional Tech Park and the bridge, I had an opportunity to meet with Derek Slapp, who's the Chief of Staff for Senator Williams' office, and we want Senator Williams' office help to schedule a meeting with CONDOT so that we can proceed as quickly as possible with construction of the Tech Park Bridge. Now that we're moving forward with the publication of the environmental monitor, the environmental impact evaluation draft, things are rapidly moving towards the time when we will have a decision on the ability to spend dollars, and we don't want with state dollars, and we don't want to be held up, and we want to make sure we have all the various concerns addressed that CONDOT might be posing to us, and some of them might deal with additional environmental concerns and hydraulic studies and things of that nature. There was a traffic study that was done as part of the EIE, and so we have reviewed that and have submitted our engineering firm, CME, has submitted their comments on it. The impact of the CME's, of the traffic study is that there is no further additional work that has to be done in regard to traffic signalization at this point. Further down the line, when there's full build, there probably will have to be reviewed at that time, but in terms of the initial construction of the YMCA and a certain percentage of construction with any of the industrial buildings on the site, it does not require any additional traffic signalization other than what has been proposed. As I stated, and again, I'm sorry, the meeting with Senator Williams' office is scheduled for this Friday, March 8th. And one of the other things we want to get resolved is that the town has been spending some money based on the agreement that the financial agreement we had with the state of Connecticut to go forward with the construction of the bridge. And to date, they've been holding up our ability to get any reimbursement for any of those engineering and design costs. So we'd like to get that also resolved. As I stated, the environmental impact evaluation has been completed, and a notice of availability is to be advertised in the Connecticut Environmental Monitor and March Bulletin. That should be tomorrow. And copies for public review will be available in the town clerk's office and the library starting March 8th. And there will also be a site on the internet. There will be a website on the internet that will be available for people to go on the web to see the full report electronically through that site. So the publication of the legal notice begins the 45-day comment period to end on April 22nd. Various meetings I've attended in the past, since the past 2 weeks. Of course, the Selectmen's Budget Workshop, the Pride Monthly Meeting, the Joint Boards Commissions Meeting, and Capitalist Projects Working Group, which is a subgroup of the Joint Boards and Commissions Meeting. Finance Director interviews. As you know, there's an item on the agenda tonight in regard to some of the outcomes of the interviews that we had with finance directors, for the candidates for finance director position. And I did participate with the committee on the interview of the candidates. And you will have this discussion further on as an item on the agenda. Connecticut Light and Power Quarterly Review Meetings. This is something new that CLNP has instituted. And so Mayor Place and Emergency Management Director Ed Perrin and I sat down with our CLNP town liaison, Sean Johnston, to review emergency management procedures. And this is basically a good session to go over how previous emergency management events were handled, sort of like a debriefing of the pros and cons, and also allows us to go forward in terms of finding out how we can better handle emergency management events in the future, particularly because CLNP is so much involved in terms of power outages and the like. So these are good sessions, and they will continue again on a quarterly basis. WPCA continued to work with various consulting engineering companies on the manganese treatment project and the water main relining replacement project. And again, the next steps for these companies are prepare applications for through the USDA for grants and loans to fund these projects. And we continue to work on closing out the Wellfields project and hopefully getting our diversion permits for both the expanded well fields, the expanded wells at the well fields, and also on the Little River, and to close on the permanent, and then finally to close on the permanent loan from the USDA on the remaining portion of the funding that had been put well for this project. Conference Street Bridge, Mayor Place, Jerry Beausoleil and I met with representatives from Conduct on the status of the Conference Bridge Street reconstruction project. And the project will be the subject of a public hearing scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th, 2013 at the Putnam Middle School Auditorium at 7 p.m. They're moving rather quickly forward on this project with the anticipation that it's going to be happening hopefully within the next construction season. The only problem is that they're going to close down the bridge in its entirety, and there will be detours on Church Street and Kennedy Drive. Vehicular traffic will go up on Kennedy, if you're going north on Kennedy, coming north from Kennedy Drive, you'll go up Kennedy Drive and be able to take Bridge Street and then back down on Church Street to Pomfret Street. Larger trucks will have to go all the way up to Providence Street and turn up there and come back down. So, again, the subject of the hearing, you'll hear more about what's entailed in terms of the construction, how long it should take, and and we also gave them a list of all the events that we're going to be having in the course of our summer season to ensure that we can minimize as much as possible any problems that we would have in terms of the traffic situation.
What happens with the bridge is there's a crown of the bridge that they need to remove all the soil on both sides of the bridge, the soil that goes over the bridge, and repair the crown. So that's why, we asked why they didn't need to close the whole thing. It actually is removing the soil on both sides of the bridge to fix that crown. So,
Soil.
there's soil
Yeah.
that butts up to the bridge.
Oh, on the abutments?
Yeah.
Oh.
What's
Over the arch.
And over the arch as well.
Yeah.
So it's filled up from the arch up to the road bed.
Did you give did they say any timeline on that at all?
One construction season, they hope.
April, October.
It's up in a year.
Huh?
Less than a year.
No, construction.
Yeah, less.
Well, that construction season, you don't count winter.
Yeah. It's not so bad.
It's a major thoroughfare though.
It is.
Yeah.
It takes time to build a bridge, but
Yeah.
it's not bad. You see bridge projects take years.
The good part with these bridge projects, from what we've been told at the cost meeting, is once they come in and start the job, they really do go to town. In many cases, they'll be here 7 days a week working on that bridge, which is really a good thing. So it's good to hear those things. There's another bridge behind us, and that one we ate for a long time. So, any questions of Doug?
Yes, any opinion by two representative and a senator about how they feel about the tax thing on the car? Did they make it?
I've heard that it was dead on arrival, but that's the reason that you still have to continue to make sure that you track this and make your views known. So.
Yeah. And the engineering that we were talking about for the bridge, that we didn't get any money, wasn't that coming out of steep grant initially?
No, this is the original 2.9 million. Part of that 2.97 million was engineering.
Okay, and we haven't got reimbursed for it?
They are holding it up because of this whole environmental impact evaluation. So hopefully now that we're near the end of that, we can, start, press upon them that it would be nice to get it reimbursed. So,
Where did we take that money out of?
it must be out of our fund balance. So.
I hope it shows up on the audit.
On the audit.
Because if that's, how much for engineering?
It's between 100 and 200,000.
Any further questions of Doug? Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Unfinished business, Quinnipiac Regional Technology Park and Bridge. Anything further, Doug?
No, I think that covers it.
Pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Pete, on that. Did you go to the regional meeting on that we had last Friday?
Well, that's right. I guess we're going to that.
Were you there, Pete?
Which meeting, Doug?
The NECOG.
NECOG.
Oh, yeah.
What came out of that? Any
Absolutely. Some interesting questions. Actually, it's hard to develop partnerships. The hardest part with working with any one of these towns is you have to plan, John. You have to have trust. You have to work cohesively together. we have to market ourselves as a group. Right now, it says we market ourselves as individual entities. And unfortunately, when I look at it, I see it's not being successful in any one of those entities right now. One of the meetings that Doug and I attended back in November was for the National League of Cities. And the areas of the counties that are being successful are the counties that are actually working together to draw business in. They have a group of, they have like a board of directors. They have rules and regulations that they are following to develop those business plans. They go a step beyond, John, in knowing what kind of companies they're doing business with. They actually even bring in the opportunity for educational sharing, developing your workforce. Those are things that I think that we need to be able to do. But I think we had a good open conversation. Don was there, Doug was there, and we're going to continue the conversation. We have some interested parties at this point, so I'll continue those conversations to see where it goes. But it's hard. We're all hurting right now. These I-parks, we're all looking for business. We're all looking for business. And I don't want to say any one of us is more greedy than the other, but if you have an opportunity, we all jump all over it to see what we can do. But Putnam's been fortunate that they haven't given things away. I think we've been cautious with who we put in the industrial park at this point. And I think that we will continue to do that in the future. But it was a good meeting. Doug spoke on behalf of the what we could possibly do, and I spoke positively, and we'll see where it goes. I think we opened some eyes, we planted some ideas, so constructive.
I know there's a few towns that aren't overly impressed with it, like Plainfield, is it, that's rotten, sweet?
Actually, no. Paul Sweet asked some great questions last Friday. And I think Paul Sweet is one of the guys out there that would be open to continue a conversation.
But there's no solid leads on anybody wanting to jump on board here.
Well, I don't want to say.
We don't want to say that yet.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
But we have the opportunity to continue those conversations, John.
I understand that. We've been at this a long time. My concern is, we're looking, you're claiming $3.5 million for this road work, which is based on someone getting involved in this. You have no one really stepping up to the plate. We've been at this for a while. How can we be moving forward with the bridge and all this stuff if we don't have any other partners involved here? We're pushing to put this bridge in, and expediently, it was your words, to get it done. And we don't have any agreement. We don't even have the land or wise going on yet, and we're pushing to pump this bridge in.
We're close on a lot of that, though, John. We've made great strides in the last few weeks with agreements and whatnot that I'll share with you as I can, and as we finish the legal process of making sure that all parties involved are happy with what we put together. But
Are we a part of that?
you'll be a part of that.
Involved?
You will be.
Okay.
Negotiations are I don't want to call them tough, but they're interesting. You seek out you seek out information to what all parties are looking for in that agreement, and you start to form an agreement. Some days we've made some good progress, some days we've gone backwards, and but that's all part of the progress. But we've made great progress over the last few weeks. Very pleased with where we're headed, and I think that we'll have something to present to you very shortly.
Are we going to know about this stuff before we actually start really hammering this bridge deal?
Yeah. It's hard. It's if we have one partner, it enables us to get funding at about 75% level, which would be a great thing for Putnam. And not all towns have industrial parks. So, those are the towns that we're going to go ahead and talk with a little bit more firmly. But we've made progress. I was happy with the result, and I don't think, John, sometimes that they understand or understood the big picture with marketing ourselves as a region rather than individual towns. It really does make a difference. Yeah. It's being shown across the country. We have parts of the country that are being very successful with attracting tenants and having people come in right now. It's because of cooperatively working together. And I see that, you know, it not only affects what we're doing, it's going to affect the future in the state of Connecticut. Because, and I don't want to say the state dictates everything, but the state has a say in the way that they'd like to see things proceed. You know, and as we use up more of our land mass, it makes more and more sense for us to work together. You know?
I know a lot of it just hinges on other towns being involved in it. We
Yeah.
can see more cooperation from other towns before we really
Well,
move forward.
Doug and I started a conversation, you know, several months ago, and we kind of got booed out of the room. I don't see us as being booed out of the room last Friday. I thought it was a, you know, a very good conversation. You know, there's not a clear understanding to what we're doing, and I think the other interesting part, John, is we're kind of cutting edge. You know, we're one of the first towns here, or the only town in the state of Connecticut that's looking to do things of this nature. You know, we have an opportunity to, you know, maybe put together something all other towns and cities in Connecticut could follow in the future. So, you know, it's interesting and pleasing. That's the other part of it. I never get discouraged over it. It is pleasing. Thank you.
One quick question. If other towns have industrial parks, like Killen, Plainfield has an industrial park, if they come in with us regional, does it affect their funding for their parks in the future?
Actually, if they come in with us on a regional basis, it enhances their ability with the state of Connecticut, because it proves to the state that we are considering this on a regional basis. So whether it's our projects that's a catalyst or one of their projects the catalyst, it's all to the good in the eyes of the state of Connecticut in terms of moving forward. Particularly if they think that this region has their act together in terms of going forward from an economic development perspective.
So funding will be available for their town
Right.
parks.
Right.
Yeah, Tom, you're right.
And that's one of the things we're talking about now through John Filchek, who's the executive director, is, you know, we're continuing our discussions at the same time with the state of Connecticut. So, you know, it's a continuing process and discussion.
Yeah, because if they lose their funding, if they join us, then.
Yeah, they're right in the flood.
Why would
One
we
of the
wanna-
things that they gave, I know we have to go to town meeting, but one of the things they gave in as an example was the Willimantic Mills.
Yeah.
You know, everybody came up and said, hey, this is a great idea, you know, let's put all our money into this thing, and, you know, and everybody in the region signed off on it, and look what happened is, you know, it basically failed. So that's what they're worried about, and this is a different approach where it's not the state of Connecticut coming to and saying, you gotta get this done. This is a town-driven thing from bottom up, and I think they look at that a lot more favorably.
Good. I'll stop right there, and I need a motion to recess to go into a town meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Sarah, I know Sarah's here. Sarah would read the call of the meeting, please.
Town of Putnam notice of special town meeting, March 4th, 2013. The electors and citizens qualified to vote in the town meeting of the town of Putnam, Connecticut are hereby notified and warned that a town meeting of said town will be held at the Daniel S. Rivero Selectmen's Chambers, Putnam Town Hall, 126 Church Street, Putnam, Connecticut, on Monday, March 4th, 2013, at 7:30 in the evening for the following purposes. 1, to choose a moderator for said meeting. 2, to determine the wishes of those present and eligible to vote at town meeting of the town of Putnam upon a proposed resolution to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement regarding commercial property assessed clean energy agreement, and to execute a contract substantially in the form of the commercial property assessed clean energy agreement. A copy of the proposed resolution and the proposed agreement are on file in the office of the mayor and available for public inspection during normal business hours. Dated at Putnam, Connecticut, this 19th day of February 2013. Town of Putnam, Richard C. Place Mayor, Renee Lasco, Richard A. Loomis, Alma D. Maury, Norman Sinay, John Smith Jr., Owen A. Carr, its Board of Selectmen. Attest Sarah J. Sinay, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Sarah. First order of business is to choose a moderator for said meeting.
I make a motion, we nominate Pete, please.
Second. And motion and second.
Make a motion, we close nominations.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
For nomination to close.
All those in favor of naming Peter Place as the moderator for this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Item 2 is to determine the wishes of those present and eligible to vote at the town meeting of the town of Putnam regarding a proposed resolution to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement regarding a commercial property assessed clean energy PACE agreement and to execute the contract substantially in the form of commercial property assessed clean energy PACE agreement. Copy of the proposed resolution and the proposed agreement are in file in the office of the mayor and available for public inspection during normal business hours. Doug, can you give us just an overview of, I know we had it
Don's
last
better
meeting.
prepared to do it.
I'm sorry, yes. Don's here.
Connecticut's CPACE program is the is short for Property Assessed Clean Energy. It was the legislation passed in 2012 by the state. It offers financing to commercial, industrial, and multifamily property owners to do energy upgrades to their structures, their buildings. There are 4 steps. Choose your upgrades, apply on the CPACE website, start a project and get funding, make payments. Payments are made to the funding agency. The payments are collected by the town through the tax collection. It's effective, essentially it's a lien on the tax bill. Types of upgrades are available in the program. High efficiency lighting, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, upgrades and controls. High efficiency chillers, boilers, furnaces, and water heating systems, building enclosures, envelope improvements, building automation, energy management systems, renewable energy systems. Just about any upgrade to a building that will improve the energy efficiency.
So pretty much, Don, it's a program that's backed by the banks or the lenders in this area?
That's right.
And the money is collected and dispersed by the town?
Right.
Yeah.
Much as the
I think that-
sewer benefits assessment would be.
Yeah,
As an assessment.
the gentleman over there that is involved, and I can't think of your name, please?
Tim Sheldon.
Tim?
Sheldon.
Why don't you give us a little background? You're the one who started this and why it affects you as a business in the town of Putnam, please.
Okay, my name is Tim Sheldon. I live in Alton, New Hampshire. I'm the Director of Development for the Cargill Falls Mill redevelopment project. It's an $11 to $12 million project, taking 160,000 square feet and converting it into 83 residential units of market rate and 35,000 square feet of commercial space. Doing mills or doing the industrial park that you're talking about, very large projects require an awful lot of money and financing. Any new company coming into town, you want to have a high-tech park. They're going to be looking at having energy-saving appliances, Energy Star equipment, special electrical and HVAC, and all sorts of components. Belding Mill is going to want to be rehabbed. Our mill is going to want to be rehabbed. And so what this program does, it allows us as owners to go to the state and say, instead of using electricity for at 17 cents a kilowatt hour or gas at whatever rates or propane, we are going to be using energy efficient variable speed boilers and chillers. We're going to be putting in energy efficient lights, insulation in the roofs, windows that are thermopane, and we are over a certain time frame going to be, that investment is going to be paid back by the less energy cost. We're doing a $2 million hydro project that is going to be generating hydro power electricity to our site so we don't have to buy it off the grid. That's going to be saving everybody across the board money. The industrial firms that may be coming in here will be using this program. What the program does is it takes these lenders through a very simple mechanism from the town, and the town puts an assessment. So if we have a $2 million hydro project, they will put an assessment of $2 million. It's a caveat basically on it, and I will pay a mortgage of whatever the 20-year payment is. I'll give it to the town tax assessor, or tax collector,
Yeah.
and they will send it over to the state. And so the town acts as a conduit for this financing. What it does is I get $2 million up front. I don't have to go to a bank and go through that process. It's secured by my project, and it's secured by our ability to pay. These companies coming in, they'll be doing millions of dollars worth of energy saving equipment, and you will be able to go into the marketplace as an economic seed initiative and say, you can come to Putnam, we'll give you a good rate on the land. Land's the easiest part of the development. I mean, that's the peanuts. It's the building. It's the infrastructure that you put into it. It's the population and the people that you have coming to it. And you can do that in our town, where you can't do it in any of the, well, hopefully you'll be able to do it in a lot of other towns. But if Putnam does that, that's going to be a major economic boon for you in your marketing approach. Just like it would be for the Belding Mill, just like it will be for the hospital, if they want to go in and do an upgrade, and just like it will be for our mill. It's a very simple pass-through system. We talked about it at the last meeting.
Right.
There's no exposure by the town. If I default, then the bank comes after me. They don't deal with the town. You don't have to do any collection at all. You're allowing this process to take place. And it's a great process for a developer who does energy savings.
Tim, am I correct that came out of the energy part of utility bills that we pay? They removed some from the homeowner side and put it into the business side for businesses like you. That CPAC, that's where they're actually getting their money.
Yeah, that's on the higher end level. That's how it got going. And you know, those companies, they want to get this to work rather than just what Connecticut Light and Power does. And so that was like the initiation to do it. And the governor and your group legislator thought it was a good idea. There's 13 or 14 towns already signed up, and there's another 20 that are ready to go. And this would be the 14th or 15th town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a limit on the size of the commercial enterprise, either a lower limit or an upper limit? Or is it available to any commercial enterprise in town from someone on Main Street through?
I think it's got to be a certain amount. You weren't at the last meeting.
No, I wasn't.
I don't remember what it was.
5 families and up. On a residential, it's got to be 5 families or more.
And on a commercial, I don't remember offhand what the bottom line was, but I think it was,
Certain dollar amount in terms of the investment, I think.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not the size of the business, it's the size of the upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any impact on the extra work being done by the assessor or the
Yes, compensation.
collector? There is compensation
Yeah,
on
there
this,
is.
so they do get something?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe the compensation is $500 to the town to collect those.
To do it and make the checks out of the work, okay.
Yeah. Would I have a motion on the? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Tom Shippey, 111 Savin Street, owner of Shippey Solar and Construction. I make a motion that we would pass on this because it's very beneficial, possibly to my company, for this.
Well, so you make the first motion. You can, as a citizen.
That's right. But I believe it's a good idea, and do very well for this community.
I have a motion on the floor. Would there be a second?
Second.
The motion is to approve. You scared me when you said pass on it.
Sorry.
The motion and second. Would there be further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Courthouse, number 4. Courthouse.
I need a motion on the floor to adjourn at 7:47 p.m.
Second.
Motion second was
Denise.
Denise, yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Thank you. I have a motion by Alma to reconvene, second by John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Skip that?
Yeah.
I would think you would.
Yeah.
We gotta go over that later.
I'll make a motion to new business that we move it, A, appointment of financial director, executive session, to the end of the selectmen's meeting.
Second.
That motion and a second discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Item B is the fiscal year 2013-14 proposed budget, discussion and possible action.
You have in your hands a copy of the latest version, and this incorporates the revisions from your last selectmen's meeting. And it was updated based on my review with Cheryl today. You will notice that I hope that all copies came out with color. The green ones indicate that we're still waiting for information, and the blue ones are held by the selectmen pending information. Since the last meeting, there has been some further action in regard to the Board of Education has moved forward to consideration of the school resource officer, and the proposal was from the chief of the police department is that the school resource officer would be split on a third basis between the town, the Board of Education, and the Special Service District. The total yearly cost of the school resource officer is $83,000, so the town share will be approximately $28,000. The other thing that you wanted to have the ability to have some further discussion on was the request from the Putnam EMS for $60,000, which reflected one of the reasons was a tremendous increase in terms of workers' comp. And I invited John Nutter here tonight, who is the treasurer of the Putnam EMS, so he is in a better position to be able to explain the reasons for the increase. So however you want to proceed in terms of moving forward on the items.
John, I want to thank you for being here first of all, and members of the board had some questions to the big increase, I guess, and if you could speak on that behalf, I would appreciate that very much.
I'd be happy to. One of the major issues we've had over the last few years is a change in our rating for workers' compensation. Going back 2 or 3 years ago, we were paying $12,000 to $15,000 a year for workers' comp. Last year it went up to approximately $30,000. This year it's gone up to $48,000. And basically the reason for those increases is that we had 2 claims in 1 year. Prior to that, we had very few claims come up. We had been with Berkeley Risk for many years, had not had any issues. Once we had those 2 claims, they gave us a change in classification. Taxes say change in classification much higher than the other ambulance services in the area. We have tried to look into different ways that we could reduce our costs. We looked into different insurance companies. I worked with Doug Cutler as far as looking to see if we would qualify for Sherman. Sherman's premiums were much lower than we're currently paying, but because we manage the ambulance service separately from the town, and the town doesn't manage it, we don't qualify for Sherman. In the review of different insurance companies, we have found a company that we feel will offer us a much lower premium called Workers' Compensation Trust. Basically, we're looking at a $48,000 premium now. They would be in the low 30s. However, they do have substantial requirements for compliance that we've never had to comply with before. The director of the ambulance service, Tammy Sperica, has been working with our insurance agent and Workers' Compensation Trust. We've already established some of the procedures and programs that they require, and we're working on others. We are hoping in this fiscal year to qualify, so that in fact we will be able to substantially reduce our workers' compensation premiums.
Couple questions, John. For the workman's comp, are those two people still out?
No, they have returned.
They have returned and are working in the same position as previously employed.
That is correct, yes. Is there requirements when you hire these people to be, serve on the EMS? Is there requirements of some physical stature or some physical agility test that they have to perform before you hire them? Well, over the years, we have had tests to some degree, but not to the degree that workers' compensation trust would require. A much more comprehensive testing.
Right, and would you think that would be part of that new comprehensive workman's comp policy? That would probably be part of it, that there would be testing required in regards to the agility to lift weight and et cetera, right?
That would be the case, yes.
Were both of these injuries caused by weight, lifting weight or moving people, or do you don't have?
I don't have that specific information.
Those are some of the questions I had. It's a great service for them, but all I want is that maybe the standard should be lifted enough where they have to do some type of physical agility as part of that job description to probably help us alleviate some of that workman's comp.
I think that's a very good point, and that's something that we're looking into along with Workers' Compensation Trust. We've contacted a medical office in Putnam to indicate what type of requirements Workers' Compensation Trust, what they would offer, and also the cost involved.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, do you have a sense of, I don't know our current staffing numbers, but let's say our current staffing numbers for EMTs whose position would have them doing things like lifting, who would be subject to these exams, not just dispatchers, whatever. Do we have a sense of whether we may run into a problem completely staffing EMS if we suddenly impose these additional requirements?
We have not been made aware of any
Okay,
issues
you don't have
along
any
those
sense, okay.
lines. We have 2 or 3 full-timers that we use, and we have volunteers who volunteer in
Right.
service, and we also hire part-timers to cover those periods where we don't have full-times and
Right.
we can't have the part-timers, the volunteers covered.
Right.
Are we getting into a situation where we're opening up something that now we have to have the highway workers checked also?
No, I think the thing is
We're
that
already
they've already do that. You already do
Okay.
it.
We're already involved with permit.
Every job now is getting
should.
the workman's
Yeah.
comp.
Yeah.
Yeah. With workman's comp, like you said, 2 claims, they come right after you did with 1 claim now. It's terrible. That's why I said to cover you more. You know, I don't know. They're making it for just about any job now. That you got to move so much and everything else. It's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. You answered all my questions.
Thank you, John. Were there any further questions from John? John, I appreciate you coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll put in for 48 and hope it goes down. Is that what you're saying, John?
And that's what we're hoping. We're hoping that it's going to go down into the 30s.
30s, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 2, Doug, is you want to speak a little further about the
Right.
school resource
The
officer?
school resource officer has been an idea that has been presented to the boards in the past. In fact, we have gone as far as including the possibility of hiring a school resource officer through our Drug-Free Communities grant 3 years ago. Unfortunately, we lost the opportunity to go forward with the grant. This has been, we're revisiting this now because of the situation that happened in Newtown and the efforts in terms of improving school security. Although it had been an idea, I think it's come to the fore now in terms of the importance of doing whatever is necessary in terms of ensuring security. in our schools, and so the chief of police has presented this to the town, the special service district, and the Board of Education, and as I stated, it's basically a third each would be the responsibility of each of the three respective parties to fund this. Also, he would be looking for a 2-year commitment because of the training time that's involved. I think Arnie probably can speak to that in terms of how long it takes to prepare an officer. So, again, the Board of Education has approved this, and I believe it has gone through the Special Service District, so it's just a matter of whether the town would like to participate in a share of the services.
We need that in the form of a motion?
Well, why don't we, I need to know where we're going to include it in the budget.
That's it, yeah.
Like special police services.
And I wasn't at the last meeting, so if this was brought up, I apologize. What's the reason for splitting it? What's the reason for having the special services district bear a different responsibility for funding for this from the rest of the town? Given that whether you live in the special services district or the rest of the town of Putnam, you both have children in the school.
2 reasons. One is they're separate entities. They have their own budget, we have our own budget, and the school has their own budget. The town does not support the police department because of our charter. So we have to have that separation between the special service district and the town because of the charter.
Right, I realize that, but if I live on this side of the highway, I pay 2/3 of this cost, ultimately, because it will come in the form of taxes. If I pay, well, arguably all 3, given I'm also paying towards the Board of Ed. If I live on the far side of the highway, I'm paying 2/3 of this, because I'm not paying the special services district portion. Right, I'm outside the district.
Still paying the education budget.
Right, so I'm paying 2/3, but I'm versus 3/3. I'm not quite sure I understand why people, and had I realized this was coming up, I would have gone actually to the special services district meeting. I'm not sure I understand why some residents of the town are having to pay a bigger share of this than others, when the idea is that all children of the town are being supported and protected equally.
Well, I think the reason being is that the special service district supports the police department and only the police department. It doesn't matter. You're paying for a service that we don't have outside in the town. So that's the reason there's a separation as far as I'm concerned. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't know how else to do it. And
half and half. I mean, if we were the town, if we were the town, if we were a town who had, such as our neighbor, who had a state police presence rather than a town police force, and if they wanted to hire a school safety officer, the state wouldn't be contributing because the town usually has state police presence. It would be their Board of Education and their town residents. And I'm just not sure I understand why we would treat...
In the state police, the Board of Education has to pay a full cost.
Okay, but...
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think the thought was to divvy up the expense amongst the 3 different boards.
Right, and I guess...
As equitably
Are you
as
questioning
possible.
why the special service district would contribute?
Right, why would the...
Because you're not using the school resource officer complete school year, only for the school year. You're using that officer for the complete calendar year.
Okay.
So there's times where he's not going to be serving as a school resource officer, but he's going to be serving as a police officer. So therefore, that's
Now
why.
that absolutely makes sense. That is 100% reasonable.
What about population? What's the population in the special service and outside the special service?
3/4 and 1/4.
3/4 in the special and 1/4 out? Right.
How about, don't we pay the police department for events, like for parades and everything else? Could we put it in that line item? There's a spot where we reimburse special services for police services for Memorial Day and
Events in the park.
events in the park, if I remember right.
I think I'd rather have a
A separate line
public
item?
safety line item.
Yeah.
How's that? A
Public safety.
Yes,
line item.
that works.
Works
That
for
works.
me. Yeah, getting pretty, now we're really getting.
Doing our own, Doug.
That
So
works.
now I think the motion is in order.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the
What number
price
we gonna
tag,
use?
and I'm looking at 28,637 is the actual freeway. And to add a new,
What, say that again?
28,637. So the motion would be is to establish a
A
new
line
public
item.
safety line item in the amount of 28,637 for the purposes of highlighting school resources.
In your packet?
I'll
Just write down
I'll
rates.
put that in the form of a motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Okay, I had a few questions on
You need
this.
to-
I had it ready to go. and-
Sure.
Good job.
Do you know what department we're gonna put it under?
Public safety.
We're gonna make our
I know.
own department, new department? Okay.
You just have to go from the road.
Yes.
Okay.
For the budget.
Yeah, it's over, also it's over a certain amount.
Part of the budget.
No,
For the budget.
It's part of the budget, yeah.
Right, it doesn't need to go separately, just
Just as part of the whole
Yeah,
budget.
part of the whole package.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
You want to go through the rest?
I do, but I don't have a budget.
Oh,
You don't need it.
I do.
I thought you did it from memory.
I've been through it so many times.
no, we've done most of it.
Okay.
Do you have a 5-year, Steve?
I handed that out as well, it'll be in your.
Right there, isn't it?
That's it, right there.
Here it is.
Here it is, there. But you need
No.
the 5-year, right?
Right.
You didn't get the 5-year, I can't help it.
Separate.
That's separate. Yes, it is.
There it is.
There you go.
2 pages.
There we go.
Okay, going quickly, you approved the Board of Finance, you approved the Selectmen's. Now we get to the Treasurer, which is on page 3, and the question there was in regard to the accounting program upgrade as to whether we should put in a fuller amount to hire or to purchase a new software staff.
How did that meeting go the other day with the treasurer, Pete?
I watched the webinar.
Oh, already?
You're late.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're late.
I watched the webinar.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it seems like a very comprehensive program. This program was also the one that Savage Systems had found for us, as far as looking out at all the different accounting software. It's not Budget Sense that they use downstairs because there's some issues with, they don't really like what they have. So the Tyler Industry Unifund software is what they found. It's gonna run roughly $20,000 per year, depending on how you want it hosted, and but
Wasn't there some problems with Unifund that the temporary treasurer mentioned?
I don't know.
I know, I think, we had to talk to her a little bit more, and I'm surprised she didn't put something forth, about,
Did she
and I
talk
know.
about that? when we were
Yeah,
talking?
she did, and I know she wants to wait until we move further on that, so I think we can put a rough estimate in there if we were doing something for a new program, but, I think we have to get all the powers, remember she talked about getting people in places and powers that be to make that decision.
We got enough time, right?
But at least
Yeah,
it gives us
yeah,
a
you got one more
it
meeting
gives us
before
a
you
budgetary
make
figure.
send it to the Board of Finance.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hold on this again.
Yeah.
I would say, until we,
We'll talk to.
Yeah.
Can you approve the other parts of it, or do you wanna hold off on the other? The payroll and the,
Well, you know.
no, you're right,
you can't.
you can't.
Yeah.
Until we know what the dollar amount is.
Yeah.
Revenue was all set, assessor was all set for the tax review, town clerk, held for research on clerk salary.
What I did do is, we had some work done, and I looked at salaries of town clerks in the area, and I'll give you some of the information. Putnam's town clerk gets $55,352. Killenly is $59,138. Brooklyn was $48,409. Plainfield was $56,156. Stafford, which is a hospital town, 56,247. Thompson is 57,418. Woodstock is 54,929. And I talked to Doug a little bit about this. It's a hot situation. Kind of open up a Pandora's box in a way. I think that at this particular point, I'd like to, we made a presentation to the board. The salary is 55,352. We looked at the size of the different towns, the population base, all sorts of different factors involved. And my suggestion, I don't call it a recommendation, but I'd like to see us go forward with what we offered Sarah, with the offer that I take a close look at Sarah's payroll at next year's budget. The hardest part is to single out people. It opens a Pandora's box that
Well, you did it a few years
other
back.
people come forward in same situations. And
What's the percentage of the increase? Does it mirror the, and I wasn't here, so I apologize, but does it mirror the, I want to say?
Union.
Union?
2.5.
It does mirror that? Okay.
Well, I went back over the years, not just because she's my wife, but that position, at other times, assessors got a raise, the treasurer's got a raise, everybody got a raise except the town clerk, except the percentage-wise. And that was politically motivated, period. I don't care which way you say it, and I'll say it publicly. It was politically motivated. So that's just, I'm going to abstain from any vote because she's my wife, but I think it was politically motivated over the previous years, and I'll say it publicly. But hand on say, I think that this town clerk's office is probably one of the busiest ones in the area because of the birth certificates and death certificates. All you have to do, and I invite you to go down to any town hall in Wyndham County, even Willimantic, and sit in the town hall for the day and see how many people come through that office. You can go up in Thompson, and you can sit there for, I can tell you for hours, and nobody comes in. You sit in this office, there's people coming in almost on a steady basis. So I think that, you know, even though the population probably isn't the same, the workload is greater and the responsibilities are greater.
When, based on your review, you said over a number of years, over what period of years were you looking and you saw?
Looking back.
Could you get me, I mean, your notes or whatever, could you just send it to me?
I'll ask my wife, she knows.
That would be great, thank you.
No, I just think that because of the workload and because the thing is, you know, like you say, the birth certificates, the death certificates, I went in there to lunch just to say hi to her. She never got a chance to talk to me. People came in for birth certificates, and that's all they were there for. It's amazing how busy it is.
But Thompson's getting almost $60,000. They don't do the business we do in this town hall. And I know for a fact that the attorney was at that last meeting of ours, and he said they did over 2,500 birth certificates the year before.
Attorney Longo.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
birth certificates, and we make good money off those birth certificates.
I'm hard pressed to give anything to anybody that's not, doesn't mirror the union, because it creates a problem. And I'm very standard with that, so.
Why are certain people not allowed to be in the union?
Well, not
Are you allowed to be in
all,
the union?
No.
not all
But
positions.
Secretary right here, they can't be in the union.
Well, John, no. The
I
idea
want
is
mirror
not.
the wage of the union.
Right, not all positions are union positions, but the idea is that whether you're union or non-union, you can assess position parity. Am I correct in that, Alma?
Yes.
Right, and you can assess the comparison of different positions, whether they're union, non-union, whatever. And Alma's point is, if someone who is non-union is being paid at what would be significantly, using the sort of the scientific term of significantly higher than what a similarly situated union employee would be getting, that could create issues in future contract negotiations.
I guess.
So we agreed to raise the library ones by 3-point-something%, which is higher than anybody else in this town got. We had no problem with that. I don't understand it.
I don't know
What was the
what
percentage of the raise for their salaries at the library? It's in here, 3 point, it was 3 point,
3.2, right?
3.4 something. And everybody else got.
Usually they mirror our increase
Yeah.
though.
They didn't.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I asked that question that
We'll have
night.
to look at that.
Or
we need
it
to look
could
at that.
mean that for whatever reason,
You
right,
already
it
proved
could
it.
mean they're being made higher, or it could mean that for whatever reason, they hadn't been kept at parity in previous years, and we're trying to equalize them now. It will take more research.
Yeah, I guess what I'd like to do overall is not stop at the town clerk. I need to look at all the employees here in order to be fair.
Right.
And that's the issue.
That was looked at years ago, and the only one that didn't get a big buck was the town clerk. I mean, that's, we looked at it previously, this board looked at it previously.
I think
It's like-
Barney,
Of the elected position, I don't remember.
Yeah. But
I don't
that's-
remember it ever being
I
elected.
can't say.
It,
I don't.
But I think when we did the study in the past, she was in line with, she wasn't out of whack. And when I look at the salary ranges here, Putnam, Killenly, Brooklyn, Plainfield, Stafford, which is also a hospital town, Thompson, and Woodstock, you know, Sarah's in the mix.
Well, I'll do
Well,
some
we're
work,
into the next.
I'll tell you what, I'll do research myself in the next year, and I'll find out, and
Yeah.
even though I can't vote on it, I won't vote on it, but I wanna show that, you know, the workload in this office, in town Putnam, town clerk's office, is significantly more than most of these surrounding towns because of the hospital, period. It doesn't matter if the population's the same, the workload is more significant, the responsibility is more significant. And now birth certificates, they gotta show IDs now, they gotta show picture IDs, it takes longer times. Before 9/11, they didn't have to do that. They come and ask for a birth certificate, you could give it. Now there's more regulations and rules and records to keep and
I
everything
think there's
else.
more to it than that you have to look at, and which is what the other staff is in any other place also.
yeah.
I think that's an important part of this too.
Yeah, perhaps how their town clerk's salary compares to
Their
some
duties
other
and-
set positions within those towns.
Unfortunately, salaries are never black and white, never.
Yeah, but Barney, I think right now isn't the best time to be talking about this, just because we have such a short period
Well, I
to
just
get the
felt
budget
that-
number out.
I just felt
but-
that the parity
Yeah.
for a change, that's fine, because I couldn't vote on it anyway, so,
Yeah.
but
But-
I just felt that
No.
I'd bring it to the forefront.
No, I'm glad, because I think that's very important, and, I mean, it's not something that we can really do in a motion and say, we want to look at this over the next year, you know, between now and next, let's say next January, but I think it would be a very good idea to review that, because you bring up a good point.
But truthfully, I have to look at the whole picture in order to be
Right.
fair to everybody that's here.
Exactly.
And that's
Right.
the issue, that's the hard part.
Right, would have to come up with a number of salaries to compare from town to town, as well as the clerk's office volume, but you're right, the clerk's office volume is an absolutely legitimate thing. I'm sure Wyndham, because they have the hospital,
Oh, yeah.
is higher than in similar towns of similar size.
It
So it's, yeah,
My
It's a fair
recommendation,
assessment.
Yeah, it is.
recommendation for Missy was based on a job that I saw that she was doing, but I would very much understand if that was taken away from me, if you see what I'm saying. I should have looked at a bigger picture
Yeah.
overall, and that's why, that's what I'm trying
Well, I
to tell
mean,
you.
we already gave the revenue person more money without, you know, I'm not going there.
Revenue?
Revenue.
Yes, I don't-
what page? What page?
The revenue, you gave Missy more money this year.
Oh, okay, not
$100 a
in here.
week more, $5,200 raise for the year. I mean, I'm just saying that, okay, well, we're gonna do it this way, but yet we do it that way. I think that's the only discretion that I have, you know?
We should have
And I think
a
it's a valid
standard
point.
system for reviewing this, not just this year, but
I agree.
get on basically get like on a 5-year schedule or something, and, yeah. That's.
But again, I think it's above us. I think at this point, we need to hire a salary consultant, the problem again, it's more money to do it.
Yeah,
But again, it's gonna be different eyes than us looking at it.
that's
which
true.
You can see two sets of eyes right here, there's no question.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying,
Yeah, what
we're
do you-
talking about one thing, we don't wanna address it this year, but we put $5,200 in
No,
something
it's,
else.
46, it's from 40, approximately 47 to 5,000.
It's about $3,000 increase, Barney.
Huh?
It was a $3,000 increase.
Well, that's a nice increase.
Oh, you said something a few moments ago?
I thought she got $100 a week extra.
Which
I-
would be 53.
From the WPCA, yes.
Yeah, so that's $100, it's $5,200 a year.
The WPCA is paying her?
Right.
Well, what, I mean,
For her collection, that was separate from our
That was
budget.
separate from us, right.
That's a different budget.
That's a
I'd like to
separate
see what the, nothing, I'm not going in.
Yeah.
I'll go there some other day. Not tonight.
But that's not our budget. We didn't give her that raise.
This WPCA
Well, I
funding
was
our
not-
people, this WPCA funding our people should come to a complete halt in very near future. They don't wanna hire a director, that's their problem. We're getting, there's too many people, and this will be brought up later after all the budget and everything else. This issue has to be addressed by this board. I think it's unfair that other people, what are they doing extra for their pay? I mean, some people are making $30,000 more a year from the WPCA. What are they doing for it? If they're working for us at the same time and they're getting $30,000, what are they doing? Where's the time clock? Where's the time sheet? Nobody's accountable for what they do extra and getting paid. I don't mind people getting paid extra, but show me what you do. Show me something. And I haven't seen anything different than we've been doing for years.
Well, I don't think this is the place to discuss that,
No.
like you said.
Yes.
So we'll,
I'll
I
pass
would
on
love
that,
to
yeah.
have that conversation with you later.
Oh, I will. Don't worry, I won't let it go.
So-
Sure you won't.
So,
Town clerk,
are we all set on the
Guaranteed that
revenue
we'll-
then? Are we staying with that, or what?
We haven't got the revenue side of it?
No, the revenue collected. Is that-
I'm not going there.
Oh.
What page are we on?
Four.
Oh, okay, that's also part of the regular payroll?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, the revenue request was for 48,127.
Yep.
And it was, mayor's request was for 50,000 total. And I would, again, completely understand if that increase was taken away in lieu of what I think should be a fairer process in establishing what the wages should be, a complete study. I understand that at this point. It was,
Yeah, I don't think we should go more than 2.5, like we do with everybody else here. So, sorry for,
whatever your pleasure.
I'd like to move that back down.
So it's gonna go back to 48,127.
Yep.
Can I motion to amend that, please?
Yeah, I need a motion to amend,
We need a second.
Second.
Oh, Alan?
who was the motion?
Alan made the motion.
Alma, a motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. Now we need a motion to accept the revenue department's budget with the adjustment. Would I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Town clerk. Did you approve it, Tom?
No, you didn't. You gotta approve the town clerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Town clerk,
No. because
Page
you
7.
approved, that's what
we have a town clerk's budget as submitted by department request of 122,863, as proposed in the mayor's budget, 122,863. What would be your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
Our motion to, and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
So carried.
Elections we approved, right?
Yeah. Registrars are approved.
Yeah.
Probate
Said
court.
you're up to, on page 13, if I'm correct.
I have to refer you to page 10.
Okay.
There's a discussion at the towns that are part of our probate court district. that there's a move to bring the probate court from Thompson down to Brooklyn. It's a one-time construction cost of $8,000. This would be split up per capita by every town in the district except Thompson, because they've already approved, or they already things, so there would be a certain amount of one-time to reflect the $8,000 one-time construction cost to bring the probate court down to Brooklyn.
Do you know per capita, does it deplete this?
I don't have it yet because they were going to get us a lease, so you might want to put this on hold until the next meeting.
Okay. I move we put it on hold.
Second.
I'd like to bring a little something up on that, just, we're in discussions of possibly doing a town hall. At some point, you know, we're discussing doing the town hall, building one. Would there be any room in that to put a probate judge? Because that council, the people involved, the selectmen, there's a committee made up of selectmen, I guess, that decide about the probate thing. They all seem to think Putnam's a great location for it.
It is, because the hospital.
Okay. And I don't think it's a permanent move to Brooklyn.
Does she have a lease agreement with Brooklyn?
Yeah,
Or starting to
they're
get
close.
close?
They're talking about a long-term lease.
Yeah, they are talking about a
Long-term
long-term lease.
is-
Well, if we're considering building a town hall, would we want to let them know that so they could take the lease and make it a little smaller, a shorter lease?
Why would they want
Or at
to do
least
that?
limit it to 10
They
years.
want-
Why would Brooklyn want to do
They
that?
want to have it there, why would they do that?
Because they all really wanted to come to Putnam originally.
Brooklyn, no.
Brooklyn's wanted it right along though.
Yeah, it's been between the two big.
It'd be good.
Yeah, we had hoped, you know, if the Armory went through the way that we thought it would initially, John, that we'd be able to provide some space for that probate court. And of course, that unfortunately, that part of it kind of fell to the wayside.
But we are discussing.
I don't
now
understand,
still.
you know, Doug and I talked about this, the sense of urgency to move the office from Thompson to Brooklyn. I certainly wasn't in favor of that, but.
Well, the conditions of it.
Now, is their rent being subsidized there? Or are they paying?
They pay, I don't think we're paying rent, unless it's incorporated into the annual budget.
No, they don't pay rent there.
Thompson.
Thompson,
I meant
probate
Brooklyn.
doesn't.
But in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn,
They're deciding,
Yeah, we'll be
they gotta be
paying
paying something.
We'll be paying rent.
Yeah. we're-
I know they just didn't want to pay any
But
lease
I
to
think
a
Brooklyn's
commercial.
putting money into, Brooklyn is also putting money into renovating the space for them, so. At any rate, we're gonna move on. Doug, next page.
Town council, legal counsel.
You
town
approved
building.
that, right?
Yep, legal, town building. Next one is the building official.
Could
You want
I-
to read?
Didn't we hold that?
Could I make
Yes.
a motion that we add a item to next meeting's agenda to discuss this further?
What's that?
Regarding personnel issues on this?
well, I think we're gonna pass that by till next year now, we're not gonna do.
But we've passed that by for a year already. I remember having a conversation at last year's budget meeting, and nothing's happened in the past year on it, and
Are you talking about the building official? What are we
yeah,
talking about?
yeah, on the building official.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We kind of
Yeah.
did discuss it last meeting a little bit.
We
about
discussed it
going
at
back
last meeting
full-time.
about going full-time. But there
Okay.
wasn't a consensus until they checked with Thompson, I think. But my consensus was, who cares about Thompson? You know?
well, if we have a contract with Thompson, it could be
No, it's a
relevant.
yearly contract.
Oh, okay, it's a
Yeah,
year to year,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a yearly contract. If I, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, Doug?
No?
Yeah.
I would still like, I mean, if we decide that we don't need to discuss it at the next meeting, we can always take it off the agenda, but you can't, or under the Freedom of Information law, it's not a good practice to add things to an agenda at a meeting. So I would like to add, I would move that we add to next agenda, a executive session on building official.
Why would we need to executive session? I mean, other than the fact that we'd be discussing salary, that doesn't come under.
Well, if you're negotiating.
Issues
a
in addition
contract,
to salary.
You'd have to go into.
Issues in addition to salary.
Yeah. Then you'd go into executive session. You have the right to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Doug, do you believe, you know, I know we have some things in the pipeline, but for the next fiscal year, that we're gonna need a building official full-time?
Well, I certainly would like to see a lot more hours put into on zoning.
Yeah.
But there'd have to be a clear understanding that that would be dedicated responsibility to bring somebody on full-time.
Right.
Yeah.
The only problem I faced when I did the research on this today was, is very few full-time building officials left out there anymore.
But this isn't-
A lot of them are part-time.
Yeah, but they're doing two jobs.
Right.
The building
That's
official,
true.
This is
Right.
the problem we have.
Right.
If it wasn't for the charter, I'd probably agree with you. But
Yeah.
because we don't have a zoning official officer, nothing's
Exactly.
doing with zoning, we're kind of locked in until we change the charter. What I'd like to see is a zoning officer, inland wetlands officer, all piped into one, and then have the building official does his own thing. Because
Right, but that's not gonna happen within this next budget year,
We're gonna
because
have
what,
it for a while.
right, well, no, well, but
Yeah.
best case scenario, if the review study committee decides this is something that should be changed in the charter, which it very well may,
Yeah.
this town still needs to decide to institute a charter commission, and that still needs to go to town vote, so it's gonna be at least a year before we can make that change, if ever. And I feel like I don't wanna wait, we talked about this last year, I don't wanna wait another year to have our zoning regulations as well as our building regulations properly enforced. And,
I'm in agreement with you,
yeah,
believe it or not.
yeah.
Doug,
I do believe it, I know you're my ally on this.
Doug, do we have an idea of what it would add to this budget if we went full-time with Lee?
It'd probably be another
30?
30,000. That's just salary, another, whatever the insurance and everything else would be, if they took the insurance, so.
Yeah.
And that's a good chunk of change.
That's just salary, it's not benefits, is what you're saying, or
Excuse me?
crop benefits, right?
Well, if we go full-time, then you got, you
Yeah.
got the
Full-time
benefit into
benefits.
it, so.
Yeah. So you're probably talking 40 or 45,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, 45?
Well,
Yeah.
just find out what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can hold this one over?
Okay.
Is that what you'd like to do?
That's fine.
Okay. Did they give us opportunity to, maybe have a conversation with Barney Grove this week?
So you want me to run some numbers based on health
Yeah,
insurance,
and
single
you know,
versus double?
I don't think
and-
it should decide on what Thompson's gonna do. I
No,
could
no,
care
no,
less
no.
what Thompson
No, no.
does.
We have a motion that you want to rescind, or?
No, I'll still put that motion out
I'll
there
second it.
regarding personnel issues also regarding the building official.
Thank you.
And we don't have to go to executive session if you don't care. If he's here, we don't have to go in.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, land use
So
commission
there's
was
a-
approved.
Is there a vote?
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't finish this. I'm sorry.
Gotta vote on it.
Yeah, motion and a second to add to the next meeting agenda,
An
the
executive
building
session.
official, for the sake of.
Possible executive session.
Possible.
Possible
Executive
executive
session,
session. For the sake of complete review of the building official,
Yes.
all right?
Renee?
And
No,
then
no,
Barney.
she made the motion.
Moved
Bonnie
and
seconded.
Barney seconded.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Okay, land use was approved, central services was approved. The only thing, on fringe benefits on 16 is, after you determine what all the salaries are, then we can come up with a final social security number. Insurance was approved, canine control, fire marshal, civil preparedness.
How do you put those
public
pages so
works.
fast?
Huh?
How do you put those pages so fast?
I memorized it. Sanitation, economic development, social services,
Public works, did we approve?
yeah.
Yes.
Economic development, I checked today because she has a line item here on 5611 on page 24.
Can we just go back to public works? again,
Sure.
Please, just for a second. Remember we
Up
made
to
it,
you.
there was something, the reimbursement was more than we thought. Remember we put in 87,000? Did we correct that? Remember last budget, there was like 87,000 for the mechanic and we questioned it?
No, there was a question to reimbursement from the Board of Education.
Right.
We have it on the revenue side.
On the revenue side?
Yeah, but that's because of the 87,000 I questioned, right?
Right.
So we were reimbursing up,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
As long as you
Yeah, we
found
found
out.
that revenues.
Okay.
Where was it? Economic development, on 5611, marketing and advertising.
The
She has
$4,000.
$4,000. Now, we put $7,500 in for a website. I think we can reduce that by 2,000.
Yeah. And she put this in for a website as well, so.
So move it down to
So we
2,000.
can take away
Yeah,
$2,000.
reduce 2,000 from marketing and advertising.
So we're bringing the total to 118,548.
Is that website being paid for elsewhere, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I need a motion to make that change.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried. I need a motion to accept Economic Development Commission's budget.
So moved.
At 118,548. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Next one is outside agencies, page 26.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's any other questions regarding this, but for the primary was for the ability to find out more about me in this.
So we're gonna cut that down to
48.
Back to 6.
No, 48, right? We could get
48.
that back to 48, because he just said the most he's gonna need is 48, we put in 60, so we can reduce it by 12,000, right?
Yep, you can take 12,000 away. And it may come in lower.
Yeah, but in the meantime,
So we're gonna make an adjustment, do I have a motion to make that adjustment under Putnam Ambulance?
so move.
From 60,000 to 48,
Second.
reduction of 12,000 dollars. I have motion second. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
I make a motion we approve the budget less the 12,000 on the bottom line.
I have motion to accept the outside agency's budget by $12,000. No, overall, I should say that. After the reduction of $12,000. Do I have a second? I have motion second.
Is that 184,531 is
Yeah,
what-
531,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Veteran Center was fine. Parks and Grounds was okay. Recreation was okay. Municipal Historian and debt recovery. And then the capital non-recurring
Yeah, it's-
tied in with the 5-year capital.
Waiting for information on those stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, capital non-recurring is a standalone.
No.
But you had 4 items there. I think you added,
We added
The
the
mower.
the
Zero-turn
mower,
mower.
the zero-turn
Oh.
mower.
For $15,000.
15,000, right, if I remember right?
Yeah, that was the only change. Yeah, so that budget went from 73 to 88. Do we need a motion to?
I think you
No.
approved it.
We approved it, okay. Yeah, motion to accept we did, okay.
You did last week. So the next item, of course, is the road reconstruction and bridge replacement, but again, that's covered under the 5-year capital plan. So the library,
We wanted to talk about salaries, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have nobody in front of us to
I
answer
think we
the
need to
questions.
find out what the story is with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to have that discussion.
I can check though, just give me a minute.
Yeah, we don't
2.5%.
I think that's.
No, it's 3.5 almost.
How do you know?
3.498% increase in salary, right?
I don't know.
That's on the whole budget down the bottom.
Yeah, but it wasn't that.
Up on top, the 234.
234 to 240, that's not 3.5%.
No, 6,000.
Yeah,
6,000 divided, that would be.
that's
No,
2.5.
it's probably, they probably have another part-time person or something that needs to be paid.
Just got a calculator.
5502, 7127, Doug, do you remember what part-time payroll it was?
No, I don't know, hold on now.
Yeah, but they went up 7,000, that's Blue Cross Blue Shield, what am I talking about? I'm sorry.
Under 5502, Barney, part-time payroll,
Yeah,
7127.
then they got nothing.
No, they
on
got
the
knocked
side.
out.
Nothing in there.
Yeah, there's nothing in there, okay.
I've got her report right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I think we're looking at is the total increase in the budget.
Blue
Yeah.
Cross was
Yeah.
the big increase.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what.
Yeah, I think that's what it was,
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
nothing to do with salary.
And of course, we had an
7,000.
increase in social security a little bit with the change of
Yeah.
laws.
I think that's
But
probably
that's,
what
it
it was.
wasn't, yeah.
Okay, so this
That
is
was
all
it,
set?
Yeah.
No questions
Yeah.
to be answered?
So that's a health insurance
And that's it
cost.
for us, isn't it?
So I think they went up 2.5% on that.
Yeah.
I think that they do that they do bid.
Yeah. So you said 3, you caught me up good.
The only other item is on page 35 of
Well,
capital.
We have to approve the library.
I'm sorry.
We did.
There
Yeah,
were
you
no
did.
changes to the law, yeah.
Yeah.
It was already seconded?
We approved it that night.
Yeah, we approved it that night, you just questioned it.
I just questioned it that night, too.
Well, yeah.
All right, Doug.
Capital items, Board of Education, we finally got their actual request, $178,500, which represents two buses, and $367,000, which is the parking lot repair and asphalt for Putnam Middle School. And I think you had talked about $85,000 being for one bus?
Yep.
Yeah, we put in one bus and they asked for two, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I would like to know how many buses they got and what's their replacement been, because if they
Okay.
need two, you know what I'm saying? I think that's a fair question, if they need two to keep up,
Yeah,
then fine.
yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
they got an
they-
extra last year too, that wasn't.
No, last year
They
they.
got one last year.
But I thought they had
They got two.
something somewhere.
They got two. Oh, they took it out of the surplus in between the year, they got two last year,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, if they got
I'm
two
not
last
all-
year and they're
all
wanting
that
two this
crazy
year.
over that.
Pretty sharp tonight.
Yeah,
Wow.
sharp as my pencil.
And the other thing that we have is the final approved budget from the Board of Education of $16,759,911, which is a 3.49% increase
In the total budget.
in the total budget.
3.49. Okay, now, where's the buses show up again? Just a-
It doesn't, it shows up under a capital item in our budget.
Yeah, I know, but I mean.
It's 35, page 35 of the big printout, top of the page.
Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, I see it, they moved it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, 178,500, and then 367 for the parking lot repair, asphalt in middle school. Geez, when we go repair our parking lots, it's worse than that.
They had it in the budget last year as well, Bonnie.
I know, we got it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It's because we're gonna get a new town hall truck.
Anything else, Doug?
You probably want to approve it as the, I think you have to bring it to the Board of Finance.
The capital.
No, the Board of Education too. They do it separately, I think.
I think they do it too.
They do it, I think the capitals are our responsibility.
Yeah, because,
So
I
they-
mean, we don't have numbers for anything else, how can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out of our budget, so I would
Yeah.
assume it would be,
So what's the capital 5-year non-recurring with the extra added in? What does it add up to now on our bottom line for this year's capital project that we approved for the Board of Finance? What's the bottom line figure for us? 895,000? But that ain't adding, was that adding,
That does not include the bus.
and how, does it include the parking lot?
No.
So it would be 1 point.
There is one bus in the
Yeah,
5
there's
year.
so it'd be another 85,000 and 365.
If
So we'd have another 440,000 roughly off the top of my head, added to the 895,000?
If you approve.
I think,
Another
you know, a bus,
452,000.
to me, a bus is a bus, and I think that we buy a truck once a year for 150,000. I can't say that we can't afford 2 school buses for 150, 160, 170,000.
I still would like to see, because like I said, I think they got 2 buses last year, they're on a schedule of 1 bus a
would
year.
we like to have them come in and explain to us why they need 2 buses?
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is,
Well, how
if they
we
can
use-
explain, I don't have a problem with that,
Yeah.
because I don't know how many buses
Exactly.
they're running.
Yeah.
If they're
Right.
running 10, 12 buses, a van, I have no idea what they're running.
Yeah.
They could, the transportation coordinator could come in and explain to us, maybe the mileage on the buses, just a breakdown. Then it would be easier for us
Yeah.
to
Just
put it
break
in the
down what
line
we
item.
have, inventory of what we have.
Yeah, yeah,
I know
I mean, that
Scott-
would be a hard.
I know Scott's already,
Yeah.
but he left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that would be a hard idea, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I think it makes sense. But I won't
So we
do it.
leave that open for now?
Yeah, that parking
Yeah.
lot, that's a big, big.
That's a
one.
lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Here we go.
You don't think that is?
no, it's a lot of money.
It is.
But if you have a bond package going out,
I
And you-
understand that,
you
but
incorporate that into an overall bond
I don't know who
package,
gave
then,
that quote, but that's
you
a
know,
lot
that's
of money
three
to
hundred
write
and
that.
67,000 that you can spread out, but, I mean, the same thing with our bridges, that's a lot of money to come up with.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the lifespan of a bridge, you know, you're asking your current citizens to basically foot the bill for these bridges, and they're gonna be good for another 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, you can't spread that responsibility out, that's the hard part, yeah.
Can we get them in here and let us know
You can move
who
on.
estimated this and what?
Sure.
What cost?
Yep.
and How many estimates they got and all that?
Yep.
A ton of money.
I can save money, I think I can do that parking lot less.
That's quite a bit, though. That's a good 3 bid.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay Data's bacon wages.
Prevailing wage, though.
Yeah, because you're on, yeah, it's federal money.
No.
No, it's
Any
not.
state project, any town
Yeah,
project,
town project,
with
yeah.
a certain
Anything
dollar
that goes
amount.
into school, I know you have to do, because I worked there.
Now, there's a certain dollar trigger that you have to spend prevailing wage on by state statute. Okay. Now, revenue is still a up in the air item.
Yeah.
And, but if you'd like, I was talking to the mayor about this, I could run a budget showing what the impact would be if we took out if we had to take out the cars.
I would say put it in and take it out, so we get an idea of where we.
Exactly.
Because then we're gonna have to decide what we wanna do, because that's gonna be a big nut. I'll tell you what, if our representatives pay, vote for that, I won't vote for it.
Yeah, one town is $15 billion.
On page 40, there's still an open item, and that's the housing authority. We still have to track that number down, and we have not got the reconciliation yet on the ash landfill tipping fees. I hope by the next meeting we would have that.
Okay.
So that's that's almost $2.5 million there. And then on the rents, we have not been able to track down the rents yet in terms of how much they are paying. And
What is it? What's the rent on what?
the page 42, all the rents that the WPCA pays, and the juvenile review board and the internal rent.
Yep.
Now, the juvenile review board is not the thing, it's the ambulance, what they pay us for the use of the Church Street building. And then the miscellaneous is the contractual bus mechanic reimbursement and the contractual services. We have to get a handle on the contractual services. And then on the tax grants, it's pending the governor's budget, of course. And then the Board of Education, there's 2 items, the non-public transportation and the other tuition.
Yep.
And then you have, finally, on page 46, these are decisions that the Board of Finance will have to be made on 1900. And then the transfer to the capital non-recurring, you had been down to 895, 500, but it was based also on putting a hold on the 100,000 for the QRTP. Want a motion on the budget as presented so far? Is this version?
Oh, okay.
Is selectmen's version number 2?
Yeah, I know.
So it's number
We've
5.
been through.
Huh?
I have a motion to accept the updates that we've done with the budget this evening.
Yep,
Yes.
so moved.
Motion, yeah, Renee, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion is second, further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so carried.
Making progress.
CDBG.
We'll be back.
We'll be back, is right.
Item C is a community development block grant resolution.
Are we looking at 5-year capital or no? Am I like way off?
We're still put on hold.
Okay, because I just had a question on the 100,000, that's true, but. Right, never mind.
Under community block grant resolution, in your packet, you do have that resolution, certified resolution in pursuit of the community development block grant program application, housing rehab program, submitted by Delper. Town administrator is recommended approval. The Putnam Redevelopment Agency, on behalf of the town of Putnam, is pursuing an application for a community block grant program application for housing rehab in the sum of $400,000.
I move that we authorize.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, no, go
Oh,
ahead.
I move we authorize the pursuit of this
Block grant.
block grant.
That's for the 2013, 2014 budget year, right?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second.
Yes, discussion, there's a discrepancy in the whereas that it states make an application for 300,000, whereas we are actually making an application for 400,000. So if you would.
And also to
modify-
be for you, housing rehab, no sidewalks in that?
No sidewalks. That's the other grant we're going to be using.
Yeah.
In that case, I move that we amend the certified resolution, the third paragraph, that in the second line of the third paragraph, in which it says 300,000, that be amended to read 400,000.
Yep.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
Okay, who seconded that one? I'm sorry. Oh, Alan,
Alan.
okay, thank you.
Team tonight.
Yeah, I saw a kid on my back.
Item D is approval of all bills. What would be your pleasure?
Make a motion, we pay all bills.
A motion, a motion and a second. Discussion?
Other than that, check that elevator bill for me, I'll be happy.
Wait, was that last vote on the amendment or on the, I think we voted once, wasn't that just on the, to amend the resolution? Or was it to vote as amended?
Vote as amended.
Vote as amended,
Vote is
okay.
amended, yep.
The elevator one, that's it, that's all I care about.
Okay. What was the elevator, Barney?
There was a $3,200
A
bill.
yearly service charge, and that, in addition to that, we might have to pay per visit.
Per visit besides, on top of that, though, why we get a service plan for paying $272?
So hold that one out.
I have motion and a second,
Okay.
and we'll pursue that. I'll look into it.
Well,
Further
that's
discussion?
that's not an approved bill, right?
Yeah, unapproved bills.
It's been approved?
Yeah, I just question why we're paying an hourly charge when we got a service plan. I don't know if the service plan includes the hourly charge or
Could
if
be
it's
just
just for
parts,
maintenance, or it's
yeah.
just the maintenance of the elevator for the parts and stuff like that.
Right.
Just some clarification, it just caught my eye, that's all.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Item E is all other business lawfully come before such meeting. Hearing none. Item 13 is public comment. Would there be further public comment? Yes, sir.
I'd like to kick the can a little further down the road. I believe, Doug, when you were speaking about the budget proposal, you spoke with Cheryl.
Yes.
Cheryl, the lady that's kind of taken over the treasurer's position, a part of it?
That's correct.
Okay, now I asked, she was gonna attend that meeting last Thursday night when all the board members was there. She was at the previous meeting, I know, with the Board of Selectmen and the budget, and she was not at that meeting last week. And now you've spoken to her. Is she gonna be available to discuss part of this budget with townspeople and taxpayers, or?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, do you think we'll have the audit? Okay, and the reason I ask that is, I'd like to have somebody that knows a lot more about finances than myself be concerned with what's going on with audit and our finances in town.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we all have appreciation of that, Tom. Further public comment? Thank you all. Item F. Actually, we need to go backwards, don't we?
I make a motion, we go to executive session to discuss item 12, where was it? 12A and 13F, potential land acquisition and the appointment of the finance director. I'll make that one.
Be 12F, Barney.
12F,
Yeah.
okay.
And 12A. Yep. All those in favor of going to executive session, or do I have a second on that?
Yes.
John, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.